Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. There we go. Lively group here. Please grab a seat. Grab some food. We've got awesome food. Thank you guys. You did a wonderful job. Who's speaking first? We've got Sana with Land Title. We have Jane with Lennar, or Russ. Who's coming on up? And Sana looking good.
I ate a lot of burritos.
Please use the mic so we can hear you in the back.
Yeah. Well, good morning. Thank you for having me here. There's a lot of familiar faces. Those of you, there's also new faces here. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Sana. I've been working with equity now for almost 5 years. Can you believe it's almost been 5 years? It's been insane. So happy to be here. I love working with you guys. We appreciate your business. We get business from many of you, so thank you for that. Those of you that don't know about Land Title, we are the largest title company in Colorado. We hold about a 35% market share, so chances of you working with us, if you're not choosing to work with us on the listing side, chances of you working with us on the buyer side is 1 out of every 3 transactions. So as your sales rep, I'm here to answer any questions. One of the things, before we go into my presentation, is that I know the way that you guys get paid, and so just so you know, at Land Title, we have a new system called the customer preference. And so what we've done in the customer preference is we went into each and every single one of your guys' file, went in there and put in exactly how equity likes to get their agents paid. So when you're getting paid at the end of the transaction, it should not be a problem at all. Every close that gets debriefed on them on a monthly basis. There's notes in your files. If for some reason it shouldn't happen, but if you have any issues with that, please feel free to give me a call, because we want to make sure that each and every time that you're working with Land Title, it's a very smooth transaction. And so with that, I just kind of want to go into our greater Metro Denver update, local market stats. How many of you actually follow the numbers on what's going on in the market? Good. So what we do at Land Title, I know these are numbers that you can get at Metra, but one of the things that we're doing at Land Title is we're providing local numbers. And so we're not just focused on the Denver metro area, we're breaking this down into a local level for you. So I'm going to go just kind of on a highlight level, and if you're interested in getting more details, I'd love to sit down with you and talk about kind of details of what's going on in the market. So when we're looking at the August numbers, as you can see, so this is just basically a highlight. This is telling you what's going on in the Denver metro area as a market. And so when we're looking at this, the active listings are still at a 5-year high with 8,472 homes. Looking at the past 2 years, the active listings have fallen off and starting in September. And so we're seeing a lot more active listings on the market than we did last year at this time and compared to last month. If you are not getting my emails, I have you guys, this is actually a 35-page report that I send out to you guys. If you're not getting them, please send me an email, because it goes into much more details. And then the days on market continues to increase, 40% year over year, and taking an average of 8.5 days longer for sellers to sell their home during this time last year. So it's actually taking them longer to sell this time than it did last year, and the only reason why is because we have more inventory and the average sales price is a lot higher than where it was last year in August. But if you have a buyer that really wants to become a homeowner, Bluefield market is booming, with both active and sold listings up by almost 29% year over year in active listings and 30% year over year in sold units. That might be an area you want to look at if you have a buyer that's very, just wants to focus on being a home buyer, and Bluefield might be the area that they can look at. The Denver County holds almost a 50% of all attached single family active listings. One of the reasons why is because when there's a lot of active listings and the average sales price a little bit higher in the Denver County than it is compared to other counties. The average sold price is seeing a noticeably division between detached single family and attached single family. The detached is down 2.8% month over month, so about a $15,000 decrease. So the average sales price right now in the Denver metro area is $523,000. If you guys remember, in June, it was $560,000. So, and then in July, we saw a dip. We're seeing a bigger dip in August. So we're definitely seeing the detached single family average sold price kind of decrease. And then the attached single family is down by $13,000, making it at it went up by $13,000, so it is at $369,000 is the average sold price for attached single family. That is a very high number for attached single family. Those of you that are native Coloradians or have been here for 10 years, attached single family at 300 and almost 70,000 is a really high number. But the reason why is because people want to be a homeowner, and right now we have more units, more attached single family than we do for detached single family, and they're a little bit more affordable compared to a little over $500,000. So then we go into our market snapshot. This is just a good way of showing you what's going on in what happened in 2016. The only thing I would pay attention to this is the graph. The pattern is similar. However, in 2000, you can see the active listings have definitely gone up compared to where they were in 2018, definitely in 2016. And then the under contracts, we're seeing them go down as we're going into fall season, which, as you know, there's a lot of seasoned agents in here. You know that that's what happens in fall. We start to see kids go back to school, things start to slow down a little bit, so don't panic if you're slow, because that's what happens almost every fall. As you can see the pattern, it peaks up in the summertime, and then we start to see it go down into August and September, and then into the winter time it kind of slows down a little bit more. And then those are the solds. We've seen a dip down in solds as well in August compared to where we were last year at the same time, but that's just how the pattern is every year when we compare the last 3 years. The active listings, this is just kind of to give you an idea how quickly we've seen the active listings go up in the market compared to where we were in 2016, 2017, 18. We saw a little bit more active listings, and we're definitely seeing a little bit more of a balanced market happening. However, we want you to know that for it to be a balanced market, we have to have a 6-month supply of inventory. As of right now, we're just a little over 1.5. So we're not even close to being a balanced market. So if someone asks, are we going in a bubble? We're not going in a bubble. We're not considered a balanced market. We're getting there. We're getting there a little quicker than we thought we would where we were last year, but we're definitely not a balanced market yet. So this is what I send out on a monthly basis, and I'll start handing them out. I don't want to hand this out because you would not be listening to me. I won't be paying attention to these numbers. So this basically I send out on a monthly basis. What it is it recaps what's going on in the Denver metro area. As I had said in the beginning of my presentation, we like to break this down into a local level. So you can get these numbers from Smedra, you can get it from DMAR, you can get them online. But what we are doing is we're breaking this down into a local level for you. So as you can see, the average sales price for detached single family is $523, but when you look at Aurora, it's only $420. And then we're telling you what the current inventory is, so how much inventory we have in that area, and how much has changed inventory-wise year over year. And so that's what makes it great about our numbers. This is free to you guys, so if you're not getting my emails, let me know. You can turn this into a postcard too. So if you wanted to send this to your clients, if you wanted to email this to them, just let me know. But as you can see, each city is very different. Denver County, there's almost 1,200 active units. That's how many active units we have in the Denver County area, and the average sold price is $565, which is a little bit higher than the average sold price of $523. So when you're looking at this number, you can also look at this and say, if you have a listing that's still sitting on the market and it's been a little bit over, 7 days. So for example, if you have a listing for $525, so when you look at the price range, $500 to $599, only 25% of the properties are going under contract in 7 days or less. So what that means, 75% of them are actually on the market longer. So if you have a listing and there is on the market a little bit longer, look at this graph and just kind of be reassured that it's not just you, that's what's going on in the market, and you just have to come up with kind of think outside the box how you're going to sell that listing. And then we have the attached single family numbers right here. If you don't see a city on there, it's because there's less than 100 inventory in that area for the attached single family. And then we go into the back page. So this just tells you what the month supply of inventory is based on price point and the average days on market based on price point. If you have an area that you're very interested in, so if you have Aurora as your market and you want to dial into what's going on in Aurora compared to what's going on in the Denver metro area, I'd love to sit down with you and give you those numbers. Because I'm telling you that we have a market within a market. We have a Denver metro market and then your market. So if you're looking at Aurora, if you're looking at Castle Rock, if your expertise is in the Denver area, just let us know and we can get those numbers to you. Do you guys have any questions? No? Okay. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me. Hopefully you found this really helpful.
I'll let you introduce yourself.
My name is Russ Weber. This is Jane Kahn. We represent Lennar Homes at Whispering Pines in Southeast Aurora. I don't know if you're aware, but Lennar Homes bought Cal Atlantic Homes about 1.5 years ago, so now makes us the largest builder in the nation and also in this market. So we have about 40 to 50 locations throughout Colorado, from Fort Collins to Castle Rock, but we represent Southeast Aurora Whispering Pines. We have 4 beautiful homes and priced from the mid-4s to the high 5s. We do have a little bit of inventory. We do have an inventory sheet here. We don't have a lot of standing inventory because of our market, but we do have a nice 2-story available, so you can pick these up. The big thing that separates Lennar from other builders is that we kind of include everything. We're not really an option builder, we're more of a spec builder, you would say. So when your client leaves, they're gonna know their final price. I mean, you're not looking through a model that has $250,000 worth of upgrades. You're looking at a model that has maybe $20,000 or $30,000 worth of upgrades, and we clearly state that in our models. So we have 2 ranch plans that are very popular, and then 2 2-story plans. We've got about 40 left, I think, this filing. And you know, I want Jane to talk a little bit more about the community. So I transferred from Lakewood with a Cal Atlantic older property recently, so I'm gonna have Jane talk a little bit more about the community and surroundings and things like that.
Hi, welcome. So we're the tip of the Black Forest coming up from Colorado Springs. It's a beautiful, quiet community, kind of near 5 minutes to Southlands Mall, back way to Parker, shopping 10 minutes. Cherry Creek School District. We have a metro district, so no extra HOA. It's part of your property taxes. Great price point. We've been open about a year and are halfway sold. Our 2 ranch plans you can get in under 5, like $475. We have some treed lots, ample. So great community, great school district. We're going like crazy. We do the everything included. Huge value. Front and back landscaping. We give you solar. All the appliances. Pretty much like competes against resale all the time. We build 5 homes a month, so we're always having different delivery times of options to pick from with our new construction. Does anybody have any questions at all? All right, well, we have some flyers to be picked up, and thank you for having us.
I thought of one.
Okay.
Seeing as how you're kind of competing against resale, are you paying 3% on base price or 3% on the walkout price?
Yeah, we pay actually 2.8% on the base price, but keep in mind our base price is higher than
Because
most
it's
builders
including some of the
because
upgrades.
we have, if you went to a design center, you could spend $50,000 for most option builders, pay extra for decks, iron railing, fireplaces, everything is included, lighting, everything. If you want to upgrade carpet, flooring, and tile, you can, and maybe that's $5,000. So you can upgrade, pay your lot price, premium, with a walkout charge, and it's minimal. So, yeah. Sure. Any other questions?
We also have an in-house lender, Eagle Home Mortgage, which does probably 90–95% of our loans. So we are trying to get everybody to be pre-qualified with them once we take something off the market, whether they use our lender or not. We do have incentives with that. It's anywhere from $5,000. If it's an inventory home, it could be as high as $10,000. So we make it really easy there. And also, just as far as registering, you know, I know with the internet and everything, everybody has their clients going everywhere, but if you want to call in a registration or visit the first time, that's preferred. There's a lot of this, multiple visits and brokers showing up right before contract, so we try to avoid that, but just give us a heads up if you're working with somebody that want to get registered and protected. Any questions? Any more?
Thank you,
Okay.
appreciate
Okay,
it.
thanks for having us.
So please thank Sana, Jane, and Russ for a wonderful breakfast and good information. One more time. Thank you guys. And then we have Karen back here sponsoring a room with 210 home warranty, and she's got a great promotion going on this month. So please check out the home warranty program that she's got going on for your clients. It's a peace of mind when you have home warranties included in the transaction. So please chat with her back there. Do you want to say anything real quick?
Thank you for coming, and please check out our service agreement. We offer the most comprehensive base price coverage available.
Awesome. Thanks, Karen. So, new agents. If you're a new agent, please come up here and introduce yourself. Just a quick something about yourself. I'm not going to put you on the spot that you have to do public speaking. But come up and just say hello, your name, maybe you're brand new, or maybe you came from another company, you've been in business for a while, and you can get your little E-pin. So don't be shy. Please come on up.
Only one brave soul.
No, there's more. I see a few people. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Hi, my name is Renee Worth. I just got my license in July. I spent 2 months at Keller Williams, and I am happy to be here.
Yay, welcome. Again, there you go.
So I'm not exactly new, but for some reason I have not been able to attend one of these meetings, so here I am. My name's Aaron Moore. I came over here, I think September and October of last year. Came from Keller Williams before, 25 years in the car business as well. But yeah, it's a great company and appreciate it.
Awesome. There you go. Thank you. Yes, I should have said, you don't have to just be a new agent to equity. If you just haven't come to one of our sales meetings and gotten your E-pin, you can come up here as well.
Got my
Hi, my name is Doug Korn. I've been practicing real estate for 3 years, and I just moved up here from Colorado Springs and been in equity for 3 months.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Jack Deal. I've been with Equity for a month.
Say that again. Jack Deal.
I've been with Equity for a month. I sold my company earlier this year, new real estate, and I figured my last name worked in banking, so I have the perfect last name. Nice to be with you all.
High expectations. Hello.
Long lost friend.
A lot of us know you, not a lot of us don't know you.
Hello, I'm Irene Bowden, and I started with Equity, and I've moved around, and I've become inactive, and I'm back, and I'm really happy to be back. I'm actually a karate instructor and have my own dojo, so I've been pretty involved with that for about 18 years. But anyway, I'm very happy to be back here, so nice to see everyone.
We're happy you're back.
Thank you so much.
Anyone just checking us out? I don't think we have anyone, any guests, kind of a guest. You can introduce yourself. You'll get an E-pin here shortly if you want to introduce yourself.
Can I do it from here?
Sure, do it from there.
I can talk
Speak
about
up, I know you can talk loud.
I'm Gina Arms. I'm the other half of the Skip and Gina team. I'm about a third of the way through the Kaplan real estate course, so goal is about November, and then I'll be looking forward to getting the E-pins.
That's real cool that you guys are going to be working together. We have a lot of husband-wife teams in our company, and obviously that's worked well for Stacy and I. So I'm sure you guys will have a great time doing it. I'm skipping. We got things to do today. Q&A. So before you actually.
So let's tell them what
let's
they've
tell them
got.
and then we'll come back to the Q&A.
Yes. And you can talk
So
about
we've handed out to you guys some blank pieces of paper. If you don't have a blank piece of paper, then raise your hand. So today is a little bit of real estate 101, 201, and 301, depending on where you're at. When I started out, I disliked always talking about the basic fundamentals at office meetings because we're progressing and not everybody wants to hear about the same basic stuff and you kind of get tired of it. So Stacey and I do have some things to talk about today that are hopefully mid-level, upper level questions. But we're giving you guys a little sheet of paper for you to write down maybe something that you don't know the answer to, maybe a question that you have. This is about real estate. About personal finance or marketing, but about real estate. A question you might have, and the reason we're giving you a piece of paper instead of just raising your hand is because I keep thinking that you guys all like speaking in front of each other. And you don't. Some of you don't like to speak in front of others. I don't even see that as public speaking. You're just standing up and talking. But you do. So you have a little piece of paper. Write down a question. We're going to put it into a bowl. We're going to pull out things. We're not going to say, this is Pam Bellier is asking this question. Because we don't want you to be embarrassed if you think it's a silly question. Because I get that a lot too. I don't want to ask a question that sounds silly. So if you have a question, a transaction that's going on, a buyer you're working with, a seller you're working with, do you have any ideas you want to throw out so that they're thinking, Stacey, of what these could be?
Oh, they all have questions. They are. Put them down on paper.
Yeah, I mean, we get so
we get a lot.
many questions. I mean, you guys, we tracked, so Stacey and I are on vacation, as you know, for a couple of weeks. We got to go throughout Utah. Went to Bryce Canyon and Zion, Maple Canyon, then we went up to Yellowstone and the Tetons, and Pam did a wonderful job of manning the phones, and we had how many calls during that amount of time?
I actually didn't check the number of calls, but there
emails.
were over 65 emails that came in 13 days. And Pam took care of every single one.
So when you guys say, I know I must be the only one that has this question, I must be the only one that has bad buyers, look, in 2 weeks we had 65 emails, and I can only imagine, that's what we do. Pam and Stacey are constantly picking up the phone and the emails, and we get a lot of questions. So it'd be nice if you guys could share here. So write down a question, we'll come back to this in about 10 or 15 minutes.
So we need a pen. Only one? Okay.
Write down your question, we'll collect these in a few minutes, and then we'll answer some of those questions. Before that, you all know that we have the Frascona Clauses. Maybe I should go this way. Who doesn't know that we have Frascona Clauses and addendums? Who doesn't know we have these things? Cool. So we all know we have these. But do you know which ones we have? We have so many clauses and so many addendums that can help out in different situations that you might encounter. Instead of you trying to write up some kind of verbiage, we probably already have it done. So Stacey has picked out some pretty cool clauses that we have, and it's going to go through some of these that might help you in the future. You want me to pull those up for you?
Sure. So we're always talking about Frascona.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Frascona, Joyner, Goodman, and Greenstein. Frascona was the head of the law firm up in Boulder. He passed away, how many years ago, Todd? 4, 5? But he taught a lot of our continuing education classes at the Board of Realtors, all the different South Metro, Denver, Denver Metro Board. He was a phenomenal individual, but Todd and I always tell you guys that we don't want you writing your own language. So we had their attorney firm, the law firm, put together a package of common clauses or common language that you guys need in your transaction. So we've got a database of over 97 clauses that are written by attorneys that are approved by equity that you guys can use in your listing agreements, your buyer agency agreements, and in your contracts to buy and sell. And oftentimes some of the questions we get on the hotline are, my buyers want to ask for this, or I need to structure language for that, and I say, do you know there's a clause for that? And oftentimes the answer is, where do I get that, or how do I find it? So first of all, I've preloaded 10 of my favorite clauses, but I want to show you how you actually access them. So when you log into your CTM account and you go to your main screen, let's say you have already got a buyer agency with a client and you're going to be writing an offer. So you go into your client and you click on create a new contract, and we're going to select the contract to buy and sell, just a residential. And when you scroll down after filling out your contract to the additional provisions, section 30, over here in the right-hand corner is this orange clause button. And if you click on it, it opens up our clause library. These are all individual clauses. To the left, it says CBS 19. That means it's for the contract to buy and sell for 2019. If you scroll down, you'll find that there are additional clauses for the ERB, exclusive right to buy, listing agreement. And then LS is for your exclusive right to list, your sales agreement. So in order to select one of the clauses, you just go to the right-hand side and check whichever box you want to use. So for example, I've already preloaded a bunch, but let's just grab one of these. You check the box, you hit insert. It does all this weird language in the beginning, and I have gotten questions on, do I delete that out? What do I do with that? It doesn't make sense. If you just hit the save button, it's coding. So once you save, it will code it with section numbers. And our internet's just a touch slow. And when you hit print preview, you won't see all the coding language. So when you go down, the clause will be inserted, no assignability. So that's what it looks like when it's done. So we'll go back to my favorite ones that I've picked out for you guys. I think they'll be really helpful in your current transactions. Reinstatement of terminated contract. So hopefully you guys can see this. Maybe that screen might be a little bit closer to you. Have you ever had a buyer that an inspection objection and inspection resolution, it's been a little challenging for the buyer and the seller to reach an agreement? And they both dig in their heels and they say, we're not budging, we're not budging. The buyer says, I'm not waiving my objection. Let's just let the contract automatically terminate. 11:59 on the termination or the resolution deadline, contract terminates. 3 days later, your buyer calls and says, there's nothing out there that we like. We really, really like that house. Is there a way to revive the transaction? We're willing not to ask for the inspection items. We want to move forward. Yes, this clause goes in amend extend. It states, notwithstanding the previous termination of the contract, buyer and seller desire to and hereby reinstate the contract as if the termination never occurred. Would that be helpful? Yes.
Has that ever occurred to anyone?
No.
Have you ever had that issue come up? Yes. I get this phone call. How do I get it back together? There it is.
There it is. So just drag up amend extend contract, throw that in, buyer seller sign, it revives. Just like that. The next one, I accidentally erased the subject line, but this one is going to be for your backup offers. Do you ever have a client that looks at a house, by the time you get the offer in, there's multiple offers? Their offer doesn't get accepted, but the listing agent tells you, if your buyer wants to submit a backup offer, we'd be more than happy to put them in first position. And we're seeing a lot of contracts terminate on inspection, cold feet, you name it. Putting a backup offer in has been a really good strategy, and I'd say 50% of the time you're putting and submitting backup offers, they're actually getting moved into first position because something happens with the previous contract. So this language at the top just acknowledges that the contract you've drafted is a backup offer, so that the seller can actually sign it acknowledging that they're putting your client in first position. So what it basically says is that the seller is currently obligated to sell the property under a contract, and you put in the date of that contract. And the seller is obligated to close that contract. But however, if that contract terminates for any reason, your contract goes into first position and the dates start clipping away. So it does also acknowledge that the seller has the right to extend deadlines with the current buyer. They have the right to modify that contract with the current buyer to keep it alive. And if at any point your buyer decides that they find another house that they want to pursue instead, they can pull the backup offer. So that's what the backup offer language looks like. And that goes straight in your contract to buy and sell. Questions on that one? Yes.
What happens to the dates? How do they generate?
So the best way to do your dates is to do MEC. So what you'll do, mutual execution of contract. So you'll put inspection 8 days after MEC, or 8 days, and you have to specify that MEC is when this contract goes into first position, not when it's signed by the seller.
So it's not gonna auto-fill MEC?
You can in CTM autofill with MEC dates. There's a chart that you go to and you click on.
I mean this clause. As
No.
a backup.
It doesn't automatically fill in your dates for you. Nope.
So you're going to have to go.
Exactly. Exactly.
Based on the, not the date of the signature of this document, but rather once the contract.
Exactly. So once you receive notification from the listing agent and the seller that this contract is going into effect, that's when the dates start clipping. Yep, exactly. So you're not blowing through all those deadlines before your offer is even really in full force. Good question. Any other ones on that one? No? Okay.
You sure? Crystal clear? This comes up a lot. Okay, make sure you're using this clause with a backup offer. And if you're on the other side of the transaction and they write some crazy backup language, counter it with this language. Because a lot of agents try and write their own stuff. We don't want that. Use this.
So, I guess, given the language about the buyer has a right to terminate, so in theory then, you could have a buyer that is in this backup position in more than one property at the same time.
Yes, in theory, that could definitely happen. Buyers were fearful of putting in a backup offer and being held to that offer in the event that they had to wait 6 weeks for this, contract to clip along, and if they find another house that they did like, that they then couldn't pull. So that's why it does have the language, but as a listing agent, maybe you ask, do you have backup offers on multiple properties or just this one?
What's this clause called, Stacey?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What's the name of the clause?
It's called,
It's backup offer, isn't it? Here, I'll get you water.
I'm sorry, I just got really bad allergies this time of year, and I know better than to come up here. It's called backup conditions. There are 3 clauses, or 3 ways this has been written, and when you click on the backup conditions, it will autofill with 3 different paragraphs. You're supposed to select one. I select the most comprehensive one that gives the buyer the termination right. There's one that doesn't give the buyer the termination right, and I like the full one.
So yes, there's 3 of these. This one lets the buyer terminate, and it also lets the seller still negotiate. There's one in there that tells the buyer or the seller of the first transaction, hey, if your deal doesn't go as planned out, you can't extend anything, you can't, really telling another buyer and seller what they can and can't do in a contract, that just doesn't sound right. So this one is the most lenient to both parties, which I think is the most fair to both parties. And I believe it's the 3rd one of the 3. Yeah.
I am back, thank you. And yeah, we always advocate that you don't do anything verbally. Oftentimes you'll have a listing agent and a buyer's agent that say, hey, if the offer falls apart, give me a call, and you have a verbal agreement that you're gonna be the one in first position. Unless it's in writing, they can select an offer from anyone else. So that's the way to go. Good on this one? Okay, so this one is called no assignability. And how many of you guys have your investor clients selling their investment properties, their condos, their rental houses, and doing 1031 exchanges? A few of you? This is the language that you're going to want to use. So in your contract, when you're working with someone that's going to be doing a 1031 exchange, so selling a property that's been used as an investment, buying another property that's going to be used as an investment, and rolling the funds into the new property to avoid tax, capital gains, you need to disclose that to the other party. So if your buyer is doing a 1031 exchange, you're going to use this contract language that just states that there's going to be a 1031 exchange company involved. They're the one that takes the funds because the seller can't physically get the funds at closing, otherwise they're taxed on it. So it goes to an intermediary, and they hold those funds until a new property is identified. You need to have that disclosure in your contract. The only reason for that is it's now another third party that's involved in the contract, and the seller will have to sign one document at closing acknowledging that it is a 1031 exchange. So they have to agree in advance. Questions on that? No?
If I can clarify one. These titles are not the title of what the paragraph means, it's the title of the paragraph it's affecting.
Yes, thank you.
So the no assignability, if you're like, wait a minute, it sounds like I can assign it. Section 2.2 in our contract states already you can't assign this. We used to have a box that says you can or you can't. They got rid of that a couple of years ago. So 2.2 says can't assign it. So legally, if you did not put this in and they're doing a 1031, you could get to closing and go, nope, you're assigning it. I've got the straight backup offer that was $10,000 more. You're in violation, breach of contract. I'm not going to do it. So 2.2, no assignability. Deadlines expire before midnight. These are the titles of the paragraph. So don't be thinking, I'm looking for that 1031 title thing. Where's the 1031? It's 2.2, no assignability. And it's allowing a 1031 exchange. Or you might want to assign, maybe an investor wants to be able to sell it to somebody else even before closing. So it might not be 1031. You're going to need to affect your 2.2 no assignability and say there is assignability that you can do.
Thank you.
I was confused because when I first read no assignability, I'm like, what? Why is that the title? That's the paragraph.
I have a question.
Yes,
And that's when usually you see in the MLS that the seller says this is a 1031 exchange.
Correct.
That's when you put it. What happens if you don't know? Because the listing agent did not disclose in the MLS that it was a 1031.
So yeah, if they didn't disclose it, then you're obviously not going to put it in your contract, and that's something that they'll end up countering back and saying, hey, we forgot to disclose this. Here's a counter that acknowledges we're going to be using a 1031 intermediary. So, yep. It's not really your job to say, is this a 1031? Is that it should be disclosed, and if it's not, it'll be corrected in a counteroffer. Good question. Yeah. So, another scenario. How many times have you guys been up at 10 o'clock at night negotiating inspection resolutions because if you don't, they will automatically terminate the contract at 11:59 p.m. Happens? I get calls from you guys. Sorry, I know it's after hours, but what happens if we don't get this resolved? So, this is one of my favorites. This allows you to change the dates and deadline time acceptance in your dates and deadline chart. So section 3.1 of your contract, any date and deadline automatically terminates or is automatically done at 11:59 p.m. on that date. This provision, with the exception of possession time, acceptance time, and closing date, will allow you to have an expiration date at whatever time you put in this box. So maybe you want that to say 6 p.m. So if you have a title deadline, the deadline occurs at 6 p.m. If title work doesn't get to that party by 6 p.m., you're in violation of the deadline. Inspection resolution, deadline is 6 p.m. You negotiate everything, but it all has to be done by 6 p.m. So if you want to have more control over your office hours, this might be a provision, or for sellers that say, I don't want to be negotiating things at 9 o'clock at night. Can we do a 3 p.m. deadline? Can we do a 4 p.m. deadline? Every single deadline in the contract will then have that time stamp on it. Does that make sense? So I think that's kind of a cool one. I really like that. So yeah, that was one I discovered and I wanted to share with you guys.
You guys are gonna require
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're required.
Hotline hours until 6 p.m. We want all your dates and deadlines to be over by 6 p.m. So yeah, that was kind of a fun one that I just wanted to bring out. So this one comes up a lot. Do you have any clients who want buyers who want to pick the title company but don't want to pay for the title insurance? In the contract to buy and sell, seller selects title, there's a box, and pays for title insurance. Buyer selects title and pays for title insurance. If you want the buyer to select but the seller to pay, there's no box for that. We've got a clause for it. So buyer hereby selects earnest money holder, you enter in the title company name, as the title insurance company who will issue the title commitment and owner's insurance policy and conduct the closing at the hour and place designated by such title insurance company. Seller, not buyer, will pay the expense for the title commitment and owner's title insurance policy. I think that's a really handy one. Because I've had that come up often in my own transactions, and I'm like, how do I do this? We've got a clause for it. Yes, Angie?
If you use that, do you select, do you leave those, contract clauses blank and then put that in?
Yes, correct. Yep, it overrides that provision. Yep.
And that's just in additional provisions.
Yep, additional provision, section 30. Correct. So this one's helpful, generic contingency right to terminate. Sometimes we have things in a contract that the buyer and seller agree to take care of. But in the event that those items don't get taken care of, one of the parties wants to terminate. So rather than you writing up language, this is to occur on this date, if it doesn't, contract shall terminate. We've got a generic contingency. So if blank does not occur on or before whatever date, then you check a box. The seller, the buyer, or either party has the right to terminate under section 25.1 by the contingency deadline. So it could be a roof replacement. It could be, I mean, there's tons of things that come up in your transactions that one party says, I don't want to be held to purchasing the property if the seller doesn't do what they said they're going to do. And we don't really have language for that. Now we've got a clause that you can fill in the blanks on. Helpful? Yeah, isn't that a good one? So this one, scroll down just a little bit. I forgot to put a space between it. So just a little further down. So disclosure of adverse material facts. Again, this is for section 10.2. Have you ever had a client say, buyer wants the hot tub in the contract. Seller says, I'm fine giving them the hot tub, but there's some problems with it, and I don't want it to come up in inspection that I have to fix the hot tub. I want to sell it as is. You can do that. So you can sell personal property as is. The last sentence of 10.2 of the contract regarding the conveyance of property in as-is condition, where is, and with all faults, also applies to the conveyance of inclusions. That could be refrigerator, washer, dryer, hot tub, whatever those items are that your seller says, I don't warranty that it's going to work, but I'm happy to include it in the sale. I think that's a really powerful one right there. And do you guys all know that in section 10.2, all homes are sold as is? I get that question a lot as well. Do I need to write that in the contract? Seller's not making any repairs, homes being sold as is. It's already written in the contract. 10.2. Yes?
Can you change that and take out inclusions and add whatever you want? Like, could you put in a block out, or can you not
Yeah.
change? You can actually change the.
We don't want you changing the language too much. If you're going to remove a word and put in the specific item, I think that's just fine. But if you're going to start adding sentences to the preset clauses, I'd say let's not do that. But yes, if you want to make it very specific to one article or one item, absolutely.
Real quick question. She mentioned that it's as is. What about health and safety though? Is that as is, or does that have to get taken care of?
Does that have to be taken care of? Do they have to take care of it?
Isn't it as is unless it's written?
As is as is.
Oh.
There is no such thing as health and safety. I get that. People say, well, health and some of you guys write that in inspections. Fix health and safety. There is no definition of health and safety.
What is health and
What's
safety?
health and safety?
That can be interpreted a lot of ways.
You mean zoning? You mean, so health and safety is an ambiguous thing, and there is no such thing. As is means as is. You get the house as is. It can be falling down. It could have rodents. It could have dry rot. No carbon monoxide. I mean, it is the way it is. Period. So,
Plus, they can just terminate for any reason at inspection.
well, you can terminate for any reason at
Right.
inspection. Yeah,
And
but
you
just
can call it what
remember
you
that
want.
the seller is never obligated to anything unless they negotiate it in an inspection resolution. But you can't come and say, well, you have to fix this because it's health and safety.
Yeah, there are no state or national laws that mandate these certain items have to be functioning in a home. A lender may dictate that there has to be certain functioning items
Oh,
involved.
yeah, VA and FHA, but that doesn't mean the seller has to agree to it.
Nope.
Carbon monoxide is required by law, isn't
A carbon monoxide detector.
Detector.
Not having carbon monoxide in a house though?
Yeah,
No.
I don't have
If
to
it's
fix it,
the
yeah.
I don't have to fix it, but yes, the detector is.
Correct. But yeah, we've gotten used to putting in health and safety requests only, in our contract to buy and sell, just to make it appear that we're gonna be really easy to work with at inspection. We're not gonna nickel and dime you, and so yeah, we do see that quite often, and that's fine to do, but it's not a requirement. And yeah, how do you determine?
And it doesn't mean anything. So yeah, when you put that in your inspection and go, we're not gonna nickel and dime you, we're just asking for health and safety. What's that mean? And that doesn't, there is no health and safety. This is, that comes up, does not come up.
Oh my God.
We get that. We get that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, they're not fixing it, it's health and
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah, or my seller agreed, they signed a contract that said the buyer will only ask for health and safety. Now they've decided they don't wanna do any inspection items, are they obligated? I said, well, it does say in 10.2 that the home's being sold as is with all faults. No, the seller doesn't have to do anything, so, yeah. Methamphetamine, I'm not running into a lot of this, I'm not hearing a lot of it from you guys, but I wanted to put it on the radar. As long as a property has been cleaned up, to the state standards, you do not have to disclose whether it was ever used as a storage, a cook facility, or whether methamphetamines ever passed through the property. This disclosure, if you have a buyer, let's say, that goes to an open house, they come to you and say, oh my gosh, I went through this open house, I absolutely love it, I wanna write an offer, but on my way back to the car, the neighbor came over and said, you do realize that this was a meth house. How do we know? And you as the agent say, I'll write it in the contract, that even if it was cleaned up to acceptable standards, if it has ever been used for the manufacturing, processing, cooking, or disposition or storage of methamphetamines, we want to know. It's a really long paragraph to state that, but basically it states that individuals have differing degrees of chemical and environmental sensitivities. So even if it's been cleaned up, it might not be suitable for your client. So you can put that in, and they do have to then disclose if that house has had that issue. So, yeah.
If it's had that issue and your buyer is still interested in the house, is there someone that can come in and test the house for individual sensitivities? Or
There are definitely home inspection companies out there that will do that. They have to have certain certifications to do so. I don't have any on our referral list, but yes, there are people that can test that. Let's see if there's any remnants left. So yeah, just wanted to keep on the radar in case it ever comes up. Another one for section 19. This is a 3-part. I pulled out 2 of the ones that I like that goes for this. Occasionally you guys will do your walkthroughs or you'll get to closing and the buyer's a little disappointed that the seller didn't leave the property in the condition they were expecting. You walk in and it's dirty, it hasn't been swept, it hasn't been vacuumed. I probably get this question once every 3 weeks. How do I write something in the contract that states that the seller's gonna leave the home in a specific condition? So, example number 1, seller will leave the property in clean condition with all trash and personal property removed, except the inclusions, we don't want them taking those, to be transferred to the property, carpets vacuumed and floors swept and mopped. Easy enough. This one is if you want to up the ante and have it professionally cleaned. So before it's just seller needs to leave the property broom swept condition. This one, seller will have the property professionally cleaned and leave it in clean condition. Carpets vacuumed, floors swept and mopped. So those are really good clauses to use. And I don't doubt that maybe you shouldn't put them in all contracts. Last one. I think you can probably use this in a lot of your listing agreements. This one is specifically for listing agreement. All these have been for contract to buy and sell. If you want to reduce your commission or modify it in any way in the event that you are the agent that double ends the transaction. So you have the listing, a buyer comes unrepresented, they don't have a realtor, and you decide to act as a transaction broker, or maybe there's no other realtor involved. If you're going to earn the whole commission, and you've told the seller, I'll reduce my commission if there's not another agent involved, Here's the language for that. If the broker identified in section 3.3 of the seller listing contract is the only real estate broker involved in the sale of the property, so that no other brokerage firm and no other individual brokerage from the brokerage firm is owed or entitled to a claim of cooperating commission or a portion thereof, the commission or compensation payable pursuant to 7.1.1 of this contract will be reduced to X percent. So maybe you take a 6% listing, but if you sell it yourself, you're gonna do it for 5. That's how you write up that language. Yes, Aaron?
What if you, in the whole negotiation, you agreed to reduce your own commission on the listing side? Would you use this as well?
On the
That's
listing.
what we're speaking about. This is.
Like, so I'm not on both ends of it.
Okay.
I'm just the listing
Oh.
side. So in an effort to soften the blow of a price reduction, for example,
Okay.
is that the verbiage I would use if I was to change my own side of it?
Yeah, this is more for
Transaction
if no
broker.
other brokerage firms are involved in the transaction, so no, I don't have a clause for that one.
That would just be amend, extend with broker.
Okay.
If-
And you just write in.
If you got a contract going on and you guys are $500 off, and you're like, look, Mr. Seller, I know you don't want to come down $500 anymore, I'll throw in my $500. Just write amend, extend with the broker, amend, extend with broker, and write total commission to be X. It's real simple with you and the lister.
Does it need to be a percentage or dollar amount?
Either.
Either.
Okay.
Whatever's
So
more
that's a
clear.
simple one.
Yeah. Receive.
And so if you had a conversation with your seller when you were signing the listing agreement, you already put that there in case
And
this
this
happens.
is
It's
done
gonna happen.
at the time of the listing. Yep.
Yes, not after the fact.
Not after the
And then in the MLS, you mark variable commission, so that the general public knows that they are at a disadvantage in the event they bring an offer and you also bring a buyer, because you'll reduce your commission, which nets the seller more.
I made a video on this. How many of you have actually watched the video that I made?
Yay, Parker! We pay the staff to do that.
This comes up a lot. You still check our listings every Friday. How often are they incorrectly doing the listings still?
They're getting better.
Yeah, they are definitely getting better. But I usually come across at least 2 or 3 a week.
2 or 3 a week are incorrectly filling out your listing agreement commission, how you get paid. If you have not watched my video, and it comes out once a month, we put it on the weekly update and tell you about commissions and how to do your commissions correctly. One of you is going to get hit. We're going to miss catching it at the right time, and one of you is going to end up writing a check at closing because you've underpaid yourself and you've paid the other co-op broker more than what your total commission is worth. And if you're going, huh? How could that happen? You need to watch the video. But I'm trying to protect you because you guys are incorrectly filling out the commission on how you are compensated. And it can happen that you end up paying more than you collect from the seller. Watch the video.
Can I say something?
And we'll show you on YouTube where it's at later.
So in our weekly updates, we just started a new section for reminders for these kinds of videos. So we're going to be running a lot of the same videos, but be sure to check there for any important information that we're reminding you about, like commissions, things like that. So just a heads up, that's where you're going to find it. There's a specific section for it in the weekly updates every Monday.
And truly, if you see my face on a video or Stacy's face on a video,
They're important.
you should watch it. You
But
should
Paul
watch it.
read it.
If you see Paul, he's being friendly. We're trying to protect you. We're talking about contracts.
All right, so if you have an opportunity, go through these different clauses. There's 97 of them. These are just a couple of the highlights. There's a couple other commission ones in the event that you're helping someone buy and helping someone sell. Sometimes you'll reduce commission there as well. So check those out. I spent a lot of time on this, but I think it's very important. And next month, I'll show you our Frascona addendums. They're actual addendums to contracts, not the clauses. So those will come in very valuable and helpful as well. So I think we're gonna transition, are we gonna go over to YouTube, or are we doing Q&A?
We're gonna do a quick Q&A, and
Okay.
YouTube might have to
Wait until?
wait until.
The boys have been doing an awesome job of reorganizing our YouTube channel, so while Todd looks over your questions to make sure they're group appropriate.
And there's some great ones, and some of these we're just gonna save for the next meeting, because.
They'll be
great
perfect topics.
discussions. Yeah.
But check out our YouTube channel if you haven't. We do link it in the weekly update. You can Google Equity Colorado YouTube. They've been reorganizing our library. We've got a lot of training videos on there. We're recording our classes that we're teaching, so you can go back and watch them. But yeah, they've given it a complete facelift. You have to check it out. It's beautiful. Okay, so great question. In the cost section of the contract, where you identify who pays for what, buyer or seller, which one does not apply in any county in Colorado? Local tax, transfer tax, etc. So let's pull up this section and look at it together. So we are talking about the section 15, so closing costs, closing fees, association fees. And don't forget that I've got my interactive contract to buy and sell, where I've templated out what's pretty common in the state of Colorado for most counties and most of the cities in the state. So the question lies in section 15.4, 15.5, and we'll rope in 15.6 and 15.7 on here. So, local transfer tax. The local transfer tax is actually something that's collected by the title company at closing. It's typically, is it 0.01% of the sales price? I believe that's what it is. It's usually charged to the buyer. And oftentimes you guys will mark 1/2 buyer, 1/2 seller, buyer, seller, or none. The title company typically will just charge that to the buyer. So if it's a $310,000 house, the local transfer tax will be like 31 bucks. So you can either mark none, and the title company will take care of whether there's a local transfer tax there or not, or you can mark buyer, because that's typically who pays for that one. Private transfer fees, those are just in HOA communities. Oftentimes developers will say, hey, anytime this property changes hands, we want a kickback. You're gonna have to do research through HOAs or through listing agents or through sellers to find out whether there is a developer or a private transfer fee. This can also be tied into the association transfer fee. So if the community charges $300 to take the current owner's name out of the system and put the new buyer's name in the system, this is where you're gonna fill that in. Sometimes that's $350, $400. If you don't know, you can write to be determined, but then you can mark whether the buyer, the seller, or whether it's split 1/2. And water transfer fees, we don't see those a lot. In the examples that I've been doing of my contracts, I'm having you guys mark that there is a water transfer fee and putting in $150 as the maximum allowable and having the seller pay for that. I'm seeing it with a couple water companies, but it's like a $15, $20 charge. What else? Sales and use tax doesn't really apply to us. That's gonna be on places that maybe do Airbnb or maybe do hotel type of stuff, where they have to collect sales tax and then pay that sales and use tax because they're renting out rooms, renting out space in the property, things of that nature. Yes, Karen?
So if on the first two, the local tax and the one for the HOA, if you can't find out anything and you check none, then before the title company can close, they would have to come back and let you know that those fees exist?
Correct. And then you guys have to determine, are you gonna split them 50-50, which is typically what happens. The fair way to do it when nobody has agreed to anything is the seller pays half and the buyer pays half. But it opens up negotiations.
So they can't just arbitrarily charge those to, say, the buyer or whatever, because the HOA has said that, no, you're gonna come in as the buyer, you have to pay this fee or something.
Exactly. Yep. And unfortunately, we don't have a chart that shows where local transfer taxes are, where private developer taxes are, where you just have to do the research and the due diligence, but the title company inevitably always finds it.
And wouldn't
it make sense just to put it in the seller, if you're on the buying side, and just,
Yeah, and that's how my example, I mark seller for everything.
I do too.
Seller, 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 seller.
Yeah.
And they can counter it if they want.
Sure.
But you're advocating for your buyer, you might as well mark seller.
Okay, that's fine.
What other ones do you have?
So we got some great ones, so thank you. So some of these we'll make in a class, some of these will make individual YouTube YouTube videos. And some of these we'll bring to the next sales meeting. So
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, these are great. So if I don't read yours, because we're running out of time here, it's not because it's not important, it's because it's really important and I want to hit it hard. These I can get to pretty quick. If a realtor wants to purchase a property for investment, how does the commission work? Great question. Two things, if you're buying a property for investment, and when I hear investment, I don't know if you mean you're going to put it into your portfolio, you want to buy a house, you want to have a rental. Great, go buy a house, make it a rental, no big deal. Your commission is actually the company commission. So let's start with that. All commissions are equity real estate's commissions. Therefore, anything that happens with commissions has to be approved by me. And it happens all the time. You guys will end up calling me and say, hey, I'm buying a property for myself, whether it's a personal property, investment, doesn't really matter. I'd like to apply that commission either towards the purchase price or towards the down payment, depending on your lender, how that works, and the size of the commission, it depends on how that works. But of that $10,000 commission, $559 of it is equities. So all we're going to do is you're going to call me up or Paul up. We're going to write a letter to the title company that states you can take your $9,400 whatever dollars and apply it, reduce it, whatever you want, make sure that the $559 is paid to equity. It's pretty simple. We need this for a couple different reasons. Let's say it's Coldwell Banker is the other company that's paying the commission. They are liable to equity to pay that commission. And let's say that you negotiated something, you put in the contract, I'm keeping all the money, I'm keeping the commission, and you don't even pay equity, and you decide to quit real estate and you take the whole thing. Coldwell Banker is liable to me. You and the other agent do not have the right to negotiate the commissions. Those commissions are Coldwell's and mine. So that's why usually I get a call from the title company. If you forget to do it, the title company or the other real estate company calls me up and says, hey, can they do this? We catch this stuff ourselves. But most of that is yours. $559 is mine, but you'll need a letter from me. If this on investment, so you're going to hold it, turn it into rental, great. You found out that this is a great deal. It's not listed. You find a property and it's a for sale by owner, and you're going to make an offer, and you know it's way under value that you're going to make. You know the person's in distress. You need to put that in the offer that you always have to put in that you're a licensed realtor. But you need to put it in that you are making the purchase as an investment with the purpose of making a profit. You've got to get a little heads up. I may be taking advantage of you because I know more than you do. That has to be disclosed, because if you end up flipping that property and they find out that you made $40,000 and you didn't do any improvements, you didn't do anything, they have a lawsuit against you because you know more than them and you took advantage of it. So you've got to give them a little heads up.
Is that considered a double-end deal then? Because on a double-end deal, we're paying both sides of the commission. I mean, as far as to you.
So if it's for sale by owner, and again, this is another video that we have, and this is another thing we show all the time, and I get the question so often, and it's the easiest way for me to explain it to Paul, because Paul asks me now, is that a double enter or not? The easiest way is, if you had the opportunity to have two commissions, then there's two commissions. That's the easiest thing for me to explain. So it's a for sale by owner. The for sale by owner is not going to pay a commission. He's a for sale by owner. I don't want to pay you. I'm not listing with another brokerage firm. I don't want to pay you. But I'll pay the buyer side. There's one deal usually on a for sale by owner.
Because you didn't have the opportunity.
You didn't have the opportunity for two deals. The biggest thing is when you have a listing, and then you say, well, I'll cut a deal, I'll do some. look, you had a listing, you had the opportunity to have 2 transactions. You already agreed at one time to pay somebody else if that somebody else brought an offer. So there's one commission over here, somebody, and then there's always you, because I'm the lister. Well, if you're all of a sudden now the one person, well, he's a customer, he's a I don't care who that other person is. If you're not paying another brokerage firm, you're paying us twice. Because you have the opportunity to do it 2 deals. And really, it's $5.59. It's such a small fee that we can't go giving out sides of transactions. If you were at a split company, a Coldwell or a Keller, they say you charge 5%, you can't negotiate. You charge 6%, you can't negotiate, and that 80% or 30% is mine. You can't negotiate my 30% away. It's my money. You can negotiate your 70, and we're saying the same thing. You can't negotiate my $5.59. If you want to negotiate the rest of your commission, you can, but 30% of our transactions are double ender. I need that 30%. If I lost 30% of our income, Stacey and I will be standing up here. So we need those double enders. When those happen, and those are wonderful. You want double enders. And don't give your money away. I will give you a long, hour-long discussion on why you should not be discounting on a double ender. So good question. This one is for Paul. Why did the equity forms move to docs management and CTM?
I know, it's a hassle.
It's a hassle.
It's a hassle, we hate it.
Should I just answer from back here?
Answer from back there and speak loud.
Basically, CTM made it happen. Long story short, they coded all of those forms that you previously saw in the DORA box. They said, nope, we're not going to do that anymore. We have to submit flat PDFs, and then they just put them down there under e-smart contracts. It's much less work for them. It has nothing to do with us.
So yeah, they aren't doing it for any companies. Yeah, they got lazy.
It's their new, and they sold out, and it's new owners, and I knew the owner before, and he did me a favor, and my favors are gone.
Luck ran out.
See if I can get to know the new people. So sorry about that. It is a hassle.
This kind of goes back to the previous one. We mentioned that we just didn't catch it, but if we're the listing agent and we choose to do a buyout, don't we have to use the addendum? That's the Colorado Real Estate Commission approved addendum for doing that.
If you're doing a buyout, that's a different, yes. Yep. I don't know too many people that are doing those anymore, but you are correct. And then the second part of this person's question, can buyers submit offers on more than one property at a time as long as they know first contract signed puts them under contract and they must cancel other offers? That puts them at a huge risk if you do that. And is it ethical? Because you are writing multiple offers on multiple properties, and at the very bottom of section something, it states that you're doing this under good faith. And is this good faith? And some attorneys will say, yeah, you can, there's a way to do it, but you're putting yourself at risk because you might get 2 offers accepted simultaneously. What happens if that happens? Well, then you're going to cancel on one of them because of something. Well, now we go to, was this good faith? You didn't even really move forward. Yes, you're going to cancel because of inspection or something. Well, that's not good faith. You're really canceling because you wrote 2 offers. You don't want to do it. You don't want to put your buyer in jeopardy of buying 2 properties at the same time.
Yeah, because in theory, both offers could get accepted, and then you're due earnest money to both parties, and yeah, it could be ugly. Can you do it? Yes. Should you do it? No.
This one I'm not going to go into depth on. How or what's your view on the future of iBuyers and how they affect us as realtors? We have spoken at this at the sales meetings several times. Main thing, watch the video that Eric Sachs did. Now this isn't me, this is Eric Sachs. He did a fabulous presentation for all of us about 3 months ago. It's on our YouTube channel. Quickly, iBuyers, and they're not really iBuyers or iSellers, but iSellers, they're investors, or I guess they're iBuyers and iSellers. They're investors. They're people that have a lot of money, buying properties at a discount with added fees, and then putting them back on the market. That means there must have been room to make a profit. They're just investors. They're just different than I buy ugly homes. That didn't ever sounded good. That company's been around forever. I buy ugly homes. And a lot of us have investors here that buy ugly homes. Well, Zillow sounds like they're our friend because we've been trusting them for so long with great information and great stats, and now they're buying our properties. They're investors. That's the easiest way to look at it.
They're not taking over the real estate industry. It's not anything to be fearful of. We've always had it in the market. They just look a little different now. That's a good question.
Yeah, good question. I'll watch the video because Eric Sachs does, for 45 minutes, he can tell you what I just told you in 30 seconds, but does it very nice. Did I do that one? This one I don't quite understand, so that's why I wanted to ask. Buyer's agent can provide the inspection resolution. Do you know what that means?
Yes. Yes. I've actually talked to someone about this.
Okay, because I don't know what that means.
So you represent the buyer. Buyer writes an inspection objection. Seller writes an inspection resolution. There's errors or items that the buyer doesn't like. The buyer wants to counter the resolution. Can you write an inspection resolution? Or does the seller, are they the only one that can write the inspection resolution? Does anyone know?
Yes, you can.
Yes. As a buyer's agent, you can write the inspection resolution. Look at it as a counteroffer. You could have 4 or 5 inspection resolutions going back and forth between buyer and seller until an agreement is reached. So it doesn't matter who writes the inspection resolution. It's pretty customary for the seller and the listing agent to write the first resolution, but if modifications or changes need to be made, you can then counter that resolution. So, yeah, great question.
Awesome. Good stuff. Like I said, these other ones, great questions. We'll get to them one way or the other.
Yeah, gives us good content for next
Yeah.
time. How do we always run out of time?
I don't know. I don't know where the time goes. Paul, do you want to say something real quick about your YouTube channel?
Only thing
Yours.
to say about the YouTube channel.
Yours and Parker's. Parker's done it looks pretty now, and yeah, you've done a nice job, Parker.
Yeah, great job, Parker. Quick. So we've organized all the videos in a way that it's easy to navigate through them. So be sure to check out all the playlists and that kind of stuff. You can subscribe by clicking the red button. You've heard that from any YouTuber. And then if you want to hit it to the next slide real quick, Todd. Rather than having to remember the URL, we just added it to Elevate. So there's a button for our YouTube channel now on the Elevate homepage. Those are my quick.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
And really, there's some good stuff in there. So take a look, see what's in there.
Yeah, and a lot of classes you guys are asking for, we've already taught them and recorded them. So you can watch them at your leisure. Contract classes, mold classes, home inspection classes, lender classes. Yeah, there's a ton.
Yeah, there's a lot in it. And again, that iBuyer class that Eric does, it's great. So, listings, new listings. If you have a new listing and like to pitch it, please come up here. Please tell us your name, property address, price, and anything interesting about the property. I'm not going to put it up on the screen. That just always took too long to do that. So I'd rather you guys come up here and give us a good pitch.
Yeah, and then post your listing photos on the Facebook group because then it hits that many more people.
And speak into the microphone, please, so that people online can hear you. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Allison Lashman. My phone number is 720-839-8000. I have a listing in Highlands Ranch. It's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath home, 3-car garage, south facing, mountain views out the back, completely updated, over $50,000 worth of upgrades in the last 2 years. It's my personal home, so let's bring a buyer. It's priced at $629,900. Hardwood floors all throughout the main level. New roof, new HVAC, new hot water heater, upgraded bathrooms, upgraded kitchen. You name it, we've done it. And let's bring a buyer. We want this baby sold. So MLS number is 7352364. Again, it's 629.9. Address, that's a good one. 3920 Wynwood Circle. It's in the Mountain Vista Feeder area. Great walking distance to everything. So bring me a buyer. Thank you.
Allison, I don't need to send you a letter
I'm good, thank you.
Oh yeah, what are you doing, Stace? Just to tell people.
Oh yeah, so just real quick, just a reminder, every time you present a listing, I write down your name, your property address. We mail a letter to your seller stating that you got up and promoted their property in front of a large group, and it just lets them know all the marketing efforts that you're going through. We do put a lot of kudos in there. You've hired a great agent, your agent's a realtor, and they promoted your home. So I mail those out with everybody, unless you tell me not to. So.
I want that.
Yes.
Hi, Sunny. I'm Sunny Park, and the property address is 11643 East Ida Avenue, which is located in the Cherry Creek State Park, and then near Greenwood Village, and include all together that area. And this is over $1 million home, so $1,080,000. This is a little bit high, I admit, but seller is kind of stubborn to so not want to negotiate that price that much, but I can lower. Bring the buyer. Yeah, this is a 5-bedroom, 5-bed. Yes.
Yeah, don't tell me. Don't tell.
I can do that. 5-bed, 5-bed, 2-story home. And it's over the basement is finished with a really high-end theater as well, and have an exercise room, 4-bedroom upstairs, and deck and deal, 5 piece master bathroom with what is it called, heated flooring. So they have what $1 million home you're supposed to have. So. What else? The location. If you have kids, this is a great location. So going to the campus middle school, Cherry Creek High School, have a reservoir next to you, everything. So let me know if we have a interest in bring the buyer. And my number is 720-512-8523. And then I have a brochure. So if you are interested, I put it here. So yeah. You need one?
I'd like to see you. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Pam Bellier. My phone number is 720-308-0283. We have a listing that's been on for about 3 weeks. Of course, our seller is getting very anxious. The address is 11884 Barrentine Loop. That's in Parker. The MLS number is 961-6563. This is basically a brand new home last October. She loved it, bought it, and had a grandbaby in Florida. And so now wants to move to Florida 9 months later. It's a 3-bedroom, 3-ranch home with a full basement. We're listed at $549,900. She actually put in all the upgrades that one of the models have. The 2 models are up for sale right now at the same time for $576,000 and $568,000. So I feel like we are probably priced pretty close. But I'd really like to we've had 2 showings in 3 weeks. And so we're just not getting any activity. We've tried advertising. So if anybody just wants to go do an agent preview, I think that'd be a really good idea. We have over 3,000 finished square feet. There is no HOA and there is no maintenance. So it is all included. Somebody talked about a Metro taxing district up here earlier, and that's what it is. So there's no HOA fees, and it is a beautiful home. The basement is totally finished, open concept. One of the nice things, this is a Cardell home right at the corner of Lincoln and Pine. So the lots are teensy tiny, but they did a beautiful backyard patio area with a stacked brick wall. It's gorgeous, it really is. So please, find a buyer, come yourself, take a look at it. We'd love that. We also have a small condo coming up in Lakewood next week. The address on that is 2557 South Dover, Unit 8. We are thinking it's going to be somewhere 240, 245. It's 880 square feet with 2 beds and 1 bath. It has a carport with it and a storage unit. It's close to all those walking trails. It's in the vicinity of Wadsworth and Yale, so there's some beautiful open space over there, lots of hiking. On this particular condo, there is no one above and no one below. You sit over your own carport and there's no one up above. So we'd love to see some activity on that. If anybody's interested in that beforehand, let me know. But that's going to go on maybe next Wednesday or Thursday.
And the address was 2557?
2557 South Dover, Unit 8.
8. That's that number
Lakewood,
8.
80227.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Ira Israel, and property address is 2874 Deerfoot Way, Castle Rock. Like Allie, this is my home, so we'd appreciate an offer. Current price is $479.9. I will say that in August we had an appraisal bill on the house for $514,000, so there's instant equity there. This house has been very well maintained. It's move-in condition. Sits right at the top of the hill. If people are looking for privacy, there's a huge backyard, backs up to the open space and the trails, and the front of the house. Every room in the front of the house has mountain views, so you have mountain views and you have open space. Top of the hill, no one comes by except the Amazon truck and the UPS guy. There are engineered floors throughout. This home has a concrete tile roof. It's a 50-year warranty roof, so you've got 40 years left on it. We are also paying a 3.5% co-op, so there's a little extra incentive there. Moving condition and quick moving. Again, my contact information, 949-400-6473. And I guess I won't need it later.
Darn! All right.
And I have brochures up here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Angie Jurgat, and I have a coming soon. It's coming over in the Kingsborough neighborhood in Aurora. It is a tri-level. It's going to have lots of new carpet, new air conditioning, new furnace, new paint on the inside. It's not a new home, but it is really cute, and it has updated kitchen and updated windows. Has a park-like backyard. It is at the end of a cul-de-sac, and it's close to the running trails or walking dogs, however you want to do that. It's not a big home. It's 1,296 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, but we're going to be listed at $335. So it's a great price for that condition. So if you have buyers looking in that mid-range, please bring them by. 303-995-6425. I also have an open house opportunity this weekend if someone would like to do an open house in the Pinery. Very easy to sign. I'm looking for someone to do that on Sunday. Thanks.
What's the address that you're coming soon?
It is 16589 East LaSalle Place, and that's Aurora 80013.
Hi everyone, my name is Mindy Sanders. I have a listing at 7349 South Alkire Street. It's in Littleton, Unit 105. It's basically at C470 and Ken Carroll Avenue, fully remodeled, 2-bed, 2-bath with a reserved carport. It's a ground floor unit, end unit, fully remodeled, beautiful, listed at $275. And I also have a buyer need in Littleton. Buyers looking for a home with a 3-car garage up to $750 in the Heritage High School feeder area or kind of close by there. So if anyone has anything, let me know. Thanks.
Hi there, my name is Dina. My telephone number is 303-718-9205.
I have a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom condo in Centennial. It's just like a block and a half away from the street South Glen. It is a ground floor unit, built in '75, so it is an older location, but there's a 2-year-old AC, 2-year-old HVAC. The washer and dryer is in the unit, it stays there. For a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom, it's 806 square feet, so it feels like a lot of space. And it's nice and bright. There's a floor to ceiling window in the living room. There's a dining space, there's an eat-in space inside the kitchen, and like a nice little patio. It does have an HOA. It covers water, heat, and it has a community pool as well. So again, my name is Dina. My telephone number is 303-718-9205.
Right.
Oh, sorry, thank you, 186.
Address?
Good one. 7260 South Gaylord Street, and that is Unit E26 in Centennial.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Janet Gunther, and my listing is 9019 East Mansfield Avenue, 80237. It's Cherry Creek Townhomes 1, and it's near Hamden and Yosemite. We're asking 3059. It's coming on the market coming this weekend, Friday, hopefully.
Sell.
Yes. And this is actually my daughter-in-law's home, so yes, sell. And it's a 2-story, 3-bed, 2-bath. About 1,408 square feet. It's a great investment property, I think. First-time home buyer. Has some upgrades. And we are hopefully doing an open house this Saturday and Sunday to get things rolling. So 303-549-5678. Thanks.
Sandra Shaler, the expert on real estate. I have a lovely investment property, if you like, nice green shag powder carpet or orange shag powder carpet. I've got all of that. 6462 South Miller Street in Littleton. It's at Kipling and Coal Mine. It's a ranch, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms on the main floor. The basement is finished with 2 bedrooms, but they're non-conforming. It's a walkout basement, which is pretty unusual for a house built in 1974. Has like a family room in the basement with a fireplace, 2-car garage, nice big yard. We're going to be listing at 350, and it needs everything doing to it, but it's a great location, in a cul-de-sac, and come get it. Hopefully. An investor will take it, hopefully, because it's been my project for the last month, helping her clearing it all out. What the address?
I did. Thank
Okay.
you. Thanks, Price. Price?
Sandra Price?
Oh, 350. It's 1,000 square feet with 1,000 square feet of basement.
Hey guys, I've got 2 listings. First one's 9300 East Florida Ave, Unit 1202 in Denver, 80247. It's right, it's at the Dayton Triangle, so kind of near Parker and Havana. It's 3 beds, 3 baths, 3 levels. It's got an attached garage. He hasn't lived in it for a while. He got a girlfriend, and he's been working on his house and living in her house. So it's like he's gone through everything. It's tankless water heater, fresh paint. He's cleaned out every nook and cranny. It's really, really nice. 1,574 square feet, and the whole exterior is getting all redone as part of a class action lawsuit against the original builder. So they'll be able to still live in the home. It doesn't interfere with, living inside the home. But it looks really, really nice. They're the last one that's getting the facelift, but it'll look really nice.
How much?
That one is $329. And then I have a new listing out in Aurora, North Aurora. It's called Havana Park, and that is 924 Ironton Street in Aurora. It's priced at $315. It's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,120 square feet. That one was built in '59. She bought it a year ago. I helped her buy it a year ago, and our inspection was, we had to like find things wrong with it. I mean, she took really good care of it, but it just proved to be a little smaller than the owner's need. So we're putting it back on the market and trying to find a different place for it. But it's on a over 7,000 square foot lot, 2 sheds, attached carport. They've been through, it's got hardwood all the way through, it's immaculate inside as well. So, and that one, I don't know if I said it was 315. Is that it?
Who are you?
My name is Aaron Moore. And my phone number is 303-901-5981. So, appreciate your help.
Hi, my name is Dominic Gianfrancesco. I have a property, I mentioned this at our last meeting, but I finally got it on the market. It's 2338 Glencoe Street. It's in the Park Hill neighborhood. This is I got it on the market last week. The MLS is 661-3090. This is a typical vintage brick bungalow in Park Hill. Fantastic neighborhood, and it's really close to one of my favorite restaurants, the Cherry Tomato. But all those shops and things by Kearney and 23rd, it's just a fantastic neighborhood. Short walk to the Denver Zoo, the museum, that whole Colorado and 23rd. So just the price is $595. It's 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 oversized car garage, and let's see. Basement is finished, and 2 of the bedrooms are in the basement, and they are non-conforming. But great location. Did I give you all the numbers?
You got it all.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Hey guys, my name is Maximilian Johnson. Don't have a million. Max Johnson. Property address is 4830 South Sicily Street in Copperleaf. It's a 3-bedroom. Oh, you want to? Okay, no phone number? Okay. No phone number. Yes. All right.
Contact information.
Yeah, contact only. Okay, so it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story property for $535,000. We're thinking about lowering the price. It's been on a couple of weeks now, so I'm gonna talk to them about that real soon. It's got a fully finished basement, 2-car garage, and it's built in 2016. So it's a lot of newer, stuff still in it, new roof. They have solar installed, low HOAs. If anybody knows that area, it's like, I want to say E470 and, is it? Quincy. Quincy, thank you, Quincy. Right past Piccadilly, so it's that Copperleaf subdivision. Richmond Home done a better job, okay, with their product. And it's MLS number 3615329. Did I miss anything? We're good? All right.
Nice job.
Ready? Well done? Thank you.
Hello. I don't come here very often. I don't like Mike. But I'm here to advertise the property. So I have a listing and it's been on the market probably 2 weeks now. I'm going to introduce myself first maybe. My name is Kasia Tubis, and the property address is 5401 South Park Terrace Avenue, and it's unit 307B, so it's just around the corner right here by the tavern. It's 800, sorry for my cookie today too. So 865 square feet, it's 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and the bathroom is remodeled, it's very bright unit. There's the HOA, and they pay for water. There's a swimming pool and exercise room. You can use the area for like conferences or anything like that. Great location, listed at $295. And if you have a buyer, it's definitely a smaller unit, but great for first home buyer. Cherry Creek schools, so if you know anyone, just let me know. And then I have another listing coming up, and the address is 19907 is East Crestline Place, and it's in Centennial, and it has been a rental property for the past maybe 7 years or so. So we just cleaning everything up. We just got a new carpet in, washing windows, cleaned the backyard. So it's going to be a really nice house. And it's 3,000, a little bit over 3,000 square feet, finished basement, 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, walkout basement, corner lot, and it's in Centennial. Did I say that? And I'm not sure if there's anything else that I want to say at this point
My phone number is 720-212-3684. Thank you. And please wash them at night.
Good job. Good job.
Wash your hands.
Yes, I see you're coughing, like, I'm gonna keep this away from me. Thank you, everyone, for coming up and presenting. I know some of you that is like nerve-wracking for you. Sorry that we've gone a little over, but this is really important to recognize our award winners. So please hang out. Please give recognition to these people. They've worked really hard. When you hear your name, come up, get your award, get your picture, and stay here. I'm guessing almost all of you are going to be up here practically, because we killed it last month. You guys did amazing. But I'd like to get a picture of all of you together and then you individually. And then we'll applaud all at once. But Power Pro Allison Lashman, congratulations. Angela Yee, congratulations. Angie Zerga, 3 transactions. Nice month, Angie. Congratulations. Antoinette, Power Pro, congratulations. Ashley Bulletin, 3 transactions. Congratulations. Oh, I didn't even see that you were here. It's good to see you. Brooke Van Havermack, congratulations. Kara Hoherd, 3 transactions. Congratulations. Courtney Belknap, Power Pro, congratulations. Don Cassidy, Power Pro. Ernie Quimmel, Power Pro.
Ernie's in Italy.
Oh, I love Italy. Haley Werge, Power Pro. Oh my gosh. Julie Cochran, 5 transactions. Congratulations, Julie. Wow. Caitlin Tran, 4 transactions. Congratulations. Kevin Tiffin, come on up, Power Pro. Kim Dunbar, 3 transactions. Congratulations, Kim, that's great. She's new. Lainey Dory, Power Pro. Congratulations. Mark Baker couldn't make it. Power Pro. Max Johnson, 4 transactions, Max. Congratulations. Michelle Butler, great to see Michelle selling houses. Congratulations. Mindy Sanders, congratulations, Mindy. Pam Bellier, Power Pro, congratulations. Priscilla Welch, Power Pro. Reagan Grant, congratulations, Reagan, Power Pro. Ricky Lee, who has a newborn, 3 transactions and a newborn. Couldn't make it here. Sandra Shaler, congratulations, 3 transactions. Stephanie Fellhauer, Power Pro. Tanya Houghton, Power Pro. Will Davis, at home watching the baby. Congratulations, Will, Power Pro. Top listing agent, Tony Fortson. Congratulations, Tony Fortson. Not here, I thought she was here. Top Sales Agent Award with 2.6 million, 5 transactions, Mary Decker. Congratulations, Mary. And with that comes the most transactions, Mary Deckard as well. Congratulations, and then you get your Power Pro. Big round of applause to everyone. You guys killed it. Good job. And while they're standing up here getting pictures taken, anything miraculous you guys are doing to get your business? How many here would say it's from referral business? There you guys go. Referral business. Take Brian Buffini, take Ninja, learn how to do business by referral, because that's what all these guys are doing. And many of you have been up here as well, so well done. Let's get a picture of all them together.
Yeah, if you guys want to.
Come on over here.
Shut that screen off too. I think so. If you just unplug it. All right, get in real close. Little bit further, a little bit further. Now you're all great friends by the end of this. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, and then one more. 1, 2, 3. Nice job, guys.
Nice job, everybody. Round of applause. Have a great week. Thank you for being here. Appreciate all you guys do.